Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Amma ba'd. Welcome back to the channel. This is Hijrah Tips and Advice. We specialize or we target those Muslims who are planning to make Hijrah to let them know what they should expect when they arrive and also give them useful tips and information that they can use so that they know before they go. And this will help your planning for Hijrah be a lot easier, inshallah. So today I'm going to talk about something that's very, very important, and that is the importance of maintaining your identity. I am a muhajir like you, and I had a lot of the thoughts that a lot of you had or currently have in regards to your attitude of your home country versus where you're going. Some people, when they leave, they say, listen, I'm never ever going back. So later for this passport, later for any kind of ties or connections I might have, I want to distance myself like the East is from the West with this country. I don't even want to call myself British, American, New Zealander, Indian. I'm not any of that anymore. I don't even want to be associated with that. I don't want my children even speaking that language. This English is the language of kufr. This Dutch is the language of the oppressor. You know, all of these languages like that. The real language we should be concentrating on is the lugha of Quran and the hadith from the Sunnah of Rasulullah. I understand that. I understand that. But here's a problem. I have met many people who don't know their mother tongue, which is the strangest thing to me, because you live in the house with your parents who speak in their mother tongue sometimes. How is it that you live in the house, you live under the roof of your family who speaks your mother tongue, but you are not able to speak it? Some people, they are concerned with assimilation. You know, we want to blend in and adapt the culture. We want to assimilate the culture. We want to blend in and be one with the people in the culture so that we don't stand out, so that we can fit in and adjust because this is our new home. Again, I understand that. But the problem is this. See, that's your plan for your children. It's not your children's plan. I have met people that have had babies in Dar al-Islam, in the lands of Muslims. The children speak Arabic like I'm speaking English right now, completely fluent. They couldn't imagine speaking another language, but they don't know English. They cannot speak English, their mother tongue. How? You look like me in every respect of the word. You come to New York to visit your family members and you don't understand anything anybody is saying. How can that be? How can that be? No, this language of this English is a language of the kuffar, and Allah says, the Rasul, he said the best speech is the speech of Allah. No, not like that, akhi. You're putting your children in a situation where they are like foreigners in their own country. If your child wants to, study in school to be whatever they want to be, and the school is a Western-based school, he can't even fill out the application. He can't read. She can't read English at all, not to even the level that they can understand what's on the paper. So now they're stuck moving around the Arab universities. Here's the thing, you guys. We parents are not going to be alive forever. And our children are going to have to find a way to take care of themselves and defend for themselves. And part of that is going to be that they're going to need some education under their belt. And I don't mean necessarily a college or university. I mean some type of skill set. And they, as it would have, most of that knowledge is in English, whether it's computer programming or networking or website development or writing resumes as a freelancer, or even going to, computer science or Python, whatever it is, that language, the medium of that language is in English, and you have sworn off English for your children, and the only thing they know is Arabic. I can tell you now, there's not a lot of jobs where, and I used to say this about my own children. I want my children to be scholars. I don't want them to learn anything, other than just Arabic, the book of law, and like that. And they can just, be employed like that. They could be the man of the masjid. They could teach Islamic studies. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. There are lots of places where foreigners are not accepted in those kinds of positions, being the imam of the masjid, the salah, giving religious talks, being hired in universities for, teaching Islam or teaching Arabic or anything like that. They're not hired. They take the local people, or they take native-born Arabic-speaking people. And even if they were to get hired, there's not a lot of money that's involved with that, to the point where you could take care of a family. Don't be too idealistic and say, well, excuse me, we're not worried about that, because, you should teach for this vis-a-vis excuse me, teach vis-a-vis. I can get your head out the clouds, man. Get your head out the clouds. You're going to die, and you're going to leave your babies here without a way to have adequate employment for themselves. So they're going to be wandering around like cats. They're just going from one place to the next to see where they can get fed. Who can give them a handout? They're going to take menial, low wage paying jobs. And it's going to be the strangest thing because they've got American passports. Their mother and or father is an American. They got American passports, but they don't speak English. You kept them away from the family, so they don't know anybody in the States. They don't know anybody in their country that they can, go to and, get some assistance from. An uncle who's got a hook up here, an aunt who owns a store, she can help you out, give you a little part-time job, people who can suggest places where you can find work and like that. You don't have that connection now, because when you left, you cut everything off. I'm not even going back home to visit. You can't do that. You got to think of your children, and this dunya is balanced. It's balanced. It's dunya and it's deen. But the only exception to that, or the only difference, is that we have priorities, right? So we don't take the dunya over the deen, but we need the dunya component, so that so that facilitates for us the practicing of the deen. Now you left your children without a way to provide for themselves adequately. So your daughter, and we see this a lot, daughters who become young women, either they stay at home all the time and they never marry, and that's a fitna, or they get into a marriage of convenience. She don't love him. There's no feelings. There's no affection, but this person has resources that she doesn't have, and she needs to be able to survive. So they get married like that. I know this is probably not what you expect to hear on the Hijrah channel, but it happens because there are muhajirun who have been overseas for a long period of time, like a generation. I know people who, when they left, close friends of mine, when they left, their kids were literally babies, like 4 years old. And now they're like in their 20s, mid-20s. That's a generation. Don't do that to your children. Maintain the balance. And one more thing. You know what I'm going to say. Please like and subscribe and share this video and hit the notification button so you can know when we get new videos. That being said, you must maintain a balance and maintain your identity. Many people, they get back home and they forget, their sense of identity, the things that they went through as a people, especially if you are Black. I don't like saying African American too much these days. But if you're a Black person, you come from America, you know what we had to deal with and still dealing with in America. You cannot desensitize your children to that. Also, we have very rich history among our African ancestors, wherever they may be, because a lot of us don't know where we come from in terms of tribes or countries, but we can identify with Africa in the general sense and take pride in the things that we have that Africans have accomplished, and we are from that lineage. We are from that generation, or not generation, but we're from that lineage. Okay, you have to make sure your children understand those things. Understand it. No, we don't follow the likes of Martin Luther King and Jesse Jackson, and all that stuff. But you have to understand what the struggle was. You have to remind them of the struggle that you went through, so they can appreciate doors that might be open to them that they think were just a given, because they don't know the history and the work that went in behind that. Understanding that there are very very smart, brilliant African American inventors, uh, economists, people in professional fields, doctors and lawyers and judges and entrepreneurs and business people and multimillionaires. Not that we idolize them, don't look at it like that, but so that they can understand that there are people who look like me that are successful. So I can do that too. That's a model. I want to follow the model of that person in terms of the business and the business decisions that they made and the way that they were able to be successful from a business standpoint. I have nothing to do with his dean. I have nothing to do with his dean. Just because I want to know how he made his money don't mean I'm going to follow him in his religion. Come on. We have to have a balance. Okay? You keep your dean to you. I just want to know how you made this money. That's all. Teach me how you made this money. I'm going to follow you. I'm going to watch your videos. I'm going to watch all your stuff. I might get your course. I want to see how you made this money. Because all I'm going to do is I'm going to take that methodology of how you made that money, put a halal spin on it, and then I'm going to use that to further fortify myself and my family so that we can practice this deen. Don't put your children in a situation where they become strangers in their own country. I understand you mean well, and you don't want to pollute your children with the ideologies and the thought processes and all this other stuff that's connected to a place that you consider to be evil and full of kufr and shirk that you just left. I don't want to teach my children that stuff. I have no admiration for this country like that. I get it. I get it. But you have to, at a point, start to educate your children about where they come from, what their identity is, who they are. Otherwise, again, they're going to be strangers in their own country. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? You are 24 years old. Your father, rahimahullah, has passed. Your mother, mashallah, maybe she's passed or she's older, but she's old. You are the oldest child. You and your brother, you and your sister. And you have to go out and make a livelihood so that you can help support your parents in their old age. So you know that America is a country that you can make some money in. You've tried the other places. You've tried different occupations. The best bet is America. You go to America on your passport. The person says, what is the nature of your visit? Or they'll say, you were gone for a while. What did you do? They're asking you questions, and you're looking at him literally and factually like he's speaking another language. You can't even talk. You can't even communicate in the language of the country that your mother and father came from. How can that be? And he's looking at you with the strangest look. Are you sure you're American? Yes, my mother's American, my father's American. How come you're not understanding what I'm saying to you? I'm speaking English to you. How do you not understand what I'm saying to you? How does that happen? Oh, my mother and my father, they don't want me to learn English in the home. They only spoke Arabic with me. They only spoke Arabic with me. I went to Arabic school. I went to Arabic high school. I went to, public school when I was little, elementary school. I took some courses. I did a lot of traveling. All of my friends are Arabs. All right. And so this is the only language I speak. How is that person, how are they going? They're like a foreigner, again, in their own country. They're a foreigner in their own country. He can enter the country because he's got the passport. So legally he can enter the country. He can't be denied re-entry into the country of his ancestral birth. And he's got the documentation. What is he going to do when he gets here? Now he gets around his family members. They're all glad to see him. They're wondering what's going on, how you been, what's it like over there, and they talking to you, and you like, Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. You have no clue of what anybody is saying to you. And I might be over dramatizing it, but I don't think so. I don't think so. Because I've met people. I've met people that don't speak the language of their country. They don't speak the language of the country that they were born in. And so now when other people meet them and they start talking to them, they have no clue of what they're saying. I seen it from a simple phone call. Hold on. He's speaking in this language. Can you speak to him? You can't even understand him. Don't do that to your children. Don't do that to your children because your children have to live on after you're gone. Your children have to find a way to fend for themselves and to support themselves and to live in this dunya until Allah calls them back after you're gone. So you're not doing them any favors. You're not doing them any favors by keeping them away from that culture. Learn how to introduce those things in the culture, and monitor them, okay? And let your children, take from it what they need to take from it and leave off the things that you have instructed them. We don't do that. Don't do this. This is haram. We don't do that. We don't do that. But just to cut ties and run, you want to cut and run and that's it. Not a good thing, and you're not doing your children any favor. So maintain your identity, maintain your nationality and your identity.